yet.
Oh, stay.
You are live.
Stay really still.
Let's press the
For
button.
the thumbnail.
Pretend if we don't move, they don't see us.
Yeah.
But
Or
like
just
T-Rex.
just do
It's based on movement.
twitchy
Yeah.
or something.
Just shaking my batteries down here.
Is that what I
Hello.
call it now?
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello, and welcome back. You're listening to Let's Throw Now. Tonight, we are joined by everyone's favourite Curry Kitten,
Hello.
the man with the lovely moustache,
Cheers. Hello.
very tired and somewhat jet-lagged Cole,
Howdy.
and my darling wife of 7 years,
Bonjour.
Tony.
I don't know why
And
I
I'm-
fucking agreed to this.
I know. Well, that's one for the editor right there. And I'm Right Till I Fly. Thank you for joining us. We got some lovely people in the chat. Lurgy, Curry Kitten's here. Richard Warwick, hello. Ben Chaparro, Wyn
It's-
Davis,
You have to say
Caroline.
Richard Warwick from the chat. Every time
Warwick
you
from the
say
chat.
his name. That's
Um,
the rules.
Marsha McFly, hello Paul. Yeah, I'm alright. I've got another hole in me. It sucks. So yeah, a hole reopened, and this time they're packing it, which involves a nurse with a little metal stick poking, packing into the hole.
Sounds quite nice.
So, how
like
much of
Teddy
a
Bear
challenge
had an
wank is
injury.
this one? And can you do it while she's doing it?
No. I just wanna crawl up into the fetal position, but then she can't get to it, and then
Playing hard to
it's
get.
horrible. It's quite violating. She's like getting all up inside my gut. It's quite a deep hole, so I have to sit there for 5 minutes, like wincing, as she packs it. And the
Sounds
more they pack in
sounds
there,
quite nice.
the quicker it will heal.
pack
but
it
it
up,
stings.
pack it in. Let me begin. Yeah, it sounds nice, Jack.
Very nice. Nice.
For next time, can you just lie there and say, "Pack me like one of your French girls"?
No, I don't even think I could. It's not fun at all.
Okay,
Yeah.
but we're
Let
just
me take
taking
a
a
break
piss out of
face so
you
far.
because it makes you laugh.
Hang in
Yeah,
there, Jack.
Lightens the
Good to
mood.
see you again, mate.
Yeah. So.
Well, it was nice
still-
to meet up with everyone. Curry
Yeah.
wasn't there because he was on holiday as fucking usual.
That's
And
me.
fly.
Where did you go? Back to the Maldives?
No,
Rome.
we were in Rome because Sophie was supposed to go there on a school trip because she was studying Latin of all things. But because it was cancelled because of COVID, she didn't get to go and she was sad about it. So we said, we promise we'll take you, and it came up now. So
That's
I made her translate every single piece of Latin that we found, which
Damn
when you walk
straight.
around Rome is a lot. And we got partial translations of like something, something, something king, something victorious, something. All
Was
right,
it
cool.
worth, was it worth the money taking her there? And
Yeah, Curry
in that
loves
one.
that annoyance stuff. He loves it. He's like, what command binds this? And why doesn't it work? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm scared.
We'll find out. Oh, I've officially given up with you,
No!
Some people
You're
just can't
Stephen's-
use Google.
person. Now you can ask him.
No,
for-
I'm not allowed
for
to
Linux.
use
No, you can
Google.
use
I'm
Google
just
is what you can do.
apparently supposed to know.
well, we
I'm
all
supposed
to
enjoyed
learn.
ourselves meeting up, didn't we?
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice. Cole was
Yeah, it was
there.
tons of fun. Yeah.
We all got to meet him.
Yeah,
And we all got to fly at Hidden Valley. Even
Yeah.
Frank.
Yeah.
yeah.
Even
Frank
though,
got 2.5 minutes, I reckon.
Yeah.
hey man, it's better than
from what-
Frank.
2.5 thrust vectored minutes.
From
Yeah,
what I
with
can figure out,
weebly
Frank
noise.
went to the cooling towers, lost a quad immediately, went to Hidden Valley, crashed his wing immediately. So
Yeah.
he is
He's trying to tell us
0
something.
for 2. Yeah.
Yeah. I felt really bad for him. I was like, damn. Like, of all
I was
times to
just
fly, you break everything. Yeah.
Yeah, I even
Or Luke.
offered him like an Apex. I was like, "Do you want this?" And he was like, "No." I was like, "Okay."
He flew my tiny little 2.5-inch micro around, gave it a bit of welly.
Yeah.
That's
I gave him
what
a few packs. But I think he was just worried about losing that as well. Needs more stick time. Get his confidence
I
up.
know. We need to. He's not been having fun lately. We just all need to like club together with our spares and soldering irons and get some collapsible tables and show up somewhere and be like, Frank, give, and just.
I mean,
all
I've
just
even got a
work
couple
on
of little
model.
gliders here. I'm sure something could be done.
He is going to
Yeah.
Wales next week.
Yeah, is it next
He's
week?
going to go wing racing, isn't he?
Yeah.
Shit.
I still haven't signed up yet. I keep threatening that I'm going to, but I haven't. But I have spoke to Matt, and I can just turn up. So I might just do that because I'm not 100%. I want to go, or I've got
Wales
to
is
learn
far.
Welsh within 1 week.
It is confusing when you see the road signs and you're like, what are they trying to tell me? And the next line down is English. You're like, phew. Okay.
Oh, thank God it said left.
Well, because I lived there for quite a while, it just kind of all goes in, you know. So
That's
it
what
just-
you said.
Osmose Welsh and eventually pick it up.
yeah, you just off means slow, you know. The telephone boxes are the weirdest one. I can't remember those off the top of my head.
Aren't telephone boxes nowadays just got like books or jumpstart your heart thing? I can't even say that word.
Defibrillators. Yeah.
Someone say that word
Defibrillators,
for
They're
me.
just poorly maintained tramp toilets,
All that.
Yeah.
But
Should we
I
talk
found
about?
out-
says the man who lives in London.
should we talk about drones? Why? This is a drone podcast. Why would we
Drones?
do that?
Well, it's because
What, just to entertain Barbwell?
Painless and Bardwell say that we're the shittest drone podcast, and we're not even a drone podcast.
Well, who
Oh,
cares
come
what? I don't
on.
care what the.
Yes,
either
that
of them.
still makes us at least the fourth best
Exactly.
in the UK.
I made a
of drone
thing.
podcasts.
I made a thing
Yeah.
that looks like an apex, but if you look closely, you may see a strange bit of yellow in the middle.
And
Where
that's
they
a
should-
3D printed bow tie.
3D printed bow tie that I did like 105%, so it squished down and gave a good fit. I did find someone who can cut one, but yeah, I was posted this by a maker in the US. It's a cool little frame, kind of an Apex style, but lighter.
Single
Couple
blade?
of no, separate arms. Couple of little surprises. It's got some nice. I think it's Ali hardware that he's put with it, so it's quite light. But the arms, I got a spare set of arms, and one set of arms is 4mm, and the other is 4.6mm. I don't think he realised that when he sent it out, and he didn't send any of the bow ties. And I appear to have got 3 stack screws and not 4. And the fact I don't have all the stack screws, and I don't have the bow ties, and it was only in one package, like it was well sealed up, but in one package. I think maybe it got ripped open and resealed halfway through, and like no one fessed up, because it was with the United States Postal Service for what seemed like an eternity, and I think they just did what they're renowned to do and dropped the ball and lost some bits, and then swept what they could find and shoved it in a bag.
What I don't understand about the US Postal Force is they drive everything across state to central hubs
Yeah,
and then ship it out.
it's
And I'm
mad.
like, Jesus, and it just sits there for days.
Hmm.
Or
Yeah,
weeks.
it's like
Canada
3
Post
weeks
is like that
before
too, I think.
before it entered the system was like 3 weeks. In fact, I've got the update thing here, the tracking history.
Canada
Yeah, but-
Post, I'm shocked at how expensive it is for you.
Well, it's really expensive to ship international, but I think there aren't most mail services like similar where, you go bring it somewhere, they bring it to a big central location, then they dispatch it out. Like, isn't that what you guys do in the UK?
Yeah, but we're way faster. Like, so he shipped it on the 14th. Shipping label created, departed, and then eventually it departed Newark on August the 1st. It took over 2 weeks to get from Brooklyn to Newark.
That's like across the water, basically.
Yeah, that's like
Yeah.
a mile or so across the water. It's an
Yeah.
absolute joke. Like, it went from New York to New Jersey in 2 weeks.
You could walk there 1,000 times over in that amount of time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It arrived in
Maybe
London
this-
on the 1st and was at my door on the 4th, by contrast.
There is always a really, really slow shipping. Like, if you want to ship something internationally from the UK to America, there is a service which will take 5 to 6 weeks. I don't know how it does that.
Boat.
Yeah, even if you could row there in like a couple of weeks. So
Yeah.
what
You
they
die
do
of
with it
exposure.
exactly, I don't know.
I think part of it too, as far as like
I'll
Canada
train
and
before I
America.
row.
Yeah, I think part of it too is like Canada and America is like physically way larger than the UK. So, I mean, even though that distance from Brooklyn,
Brooklyn to Newark.
Well, no.
How will they ever get there?
but I don't know. There's also like the population is crazy too, right? So they probably have way more packages to go through.
And they're probably getting shot at
Yeah.
at the time.
Yeah,
So there is that.
Corey,
Yeah.
what's this?
This is this.
Hey, failsafe. It was nice meeting you too, man.
Show
Yeah.
my picture
Oh
instead.
yeah. Failsafe, you left me some awesome DVR zooming around that 7-inch really close to the
Hang on.
ground. Thanks.
That's
I realised I
is-
left the lens smudgy. I'm sorry about that.
that's
It comes
also
from this
what she
pack.
said.
Which is called the sensor prototype pack from Seed with
It
3
looks like it
E's.
should contain health food or stuff. Or
Yeah, I
something.
know. It has a WIO terminal. This is it's called the Groove connector, and this is their
Groovy.
Loro
That's what she said.
board. As I found out
Nice,
today,
mate.
Is
I
the
did
screen
not know there
dumb
was
or
this
is
thing
the
called-
screen driving it?
the screen is basically this little Arduino compatible board, which has GPIO pins the same as a Raspberry Pi. It has some sensors on the back, so it has a accelerometer and a light sensor in there and a sound sensor, and then you can plug other things in here, which coincidentally I have in here. It's still falling out.
Put
I
your
have a
face
bunch more
cream on.
sensors in here, and the most exciting one in these is this. This is this AI camera thing, so you can train this to like recognize certain things. And
Cats, for example.
the reason I was sending you a picture of it today, I was saying, has anybody heard of LoRaWAN? Anybody in the chat heard of it? This little board
No,
which
never.
speaks 868.
Have you
Sure,
ever
I've got
wandered
that
around
yeah.
one
You're
of
in
those
North
IT
America.
expos that they used to have down at Docklands or any of the central London ones? There was always a stall there about LoRaWAN.
No, never heard of it. And it is just a wireless network. And I was like, well, how's it going to connect? And I plugged it in, and there are 10 hotspots within like a mile of me. And it's just like, how is this uploading data to the cloud via
It is
somebody?
stupid long
So
range.
that's weird.
Stupid long
Yeah.
range.
I mean, it's interesting because it talks about the RSSI of the hotspots and the DB and stuff like that. It's like, this is really interesting. I mean, there's so many hotspots. It's like, how is Crossfire still working with all this other 868 stuff going on? Weird.
By blasting out 1 watt
Well-
with that giant fan.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
wonder
that'd be
we're
it.
fail-safing
I was going to
randomly.
say, yeah, backwards into hills.
Yeah, no wonder Jack just flew backwards into a hill. He was scared off.
They reckon they
Didn't know
can
what
go.
to do.
You can do 5k 3 miles in urban areas and 10 miles or 15k in rural areas. That's
That's what they're
That's
saying.
a lot.
Because the idea of
Power.
this is it's not for like doing video and stuff. It's literally for Internet of Things stuff, where every hour you might say on your soil sensor, I feel
Jack
dry,
needs- Jack
and
needs
send
one
it
of
off
them.
to the cloud, and that comes back to some other device.
it's super
and
low
it
power as
basically
well,
says-
isn't it?
Yeah, you can
Okay.
literally run it for a couple of years on a battery as a standalone thing, which I thought was quite
Wow.
interesting.
So the soil sensor sends information. Oh, I'm dry. Then the information goes back. Okay, drip some water on it. Or
It's
Yeah,
like,
well, I think it's up
uh,
to you.
smart
I mean,
system
the
project.
idea of this sort of thing is to prototype a device. So I have a screen and I have buttons and stuff, but I can connect one of these other sensors to it. I've got humidity sensor and obviously the camera, which I think is the fun
Yeah.
thing. And then I can get it to upload data somewhere, and then I can use that data. And I thought potentially you could imagine this is functional on a quad, for example. If you're flying over a field, you might train it to say, there's some holes in this field, that's not good, or how many sheep can you count? Although how you can get it not to double count a sheep might be interesting. But I thought it's fun to play with, so I will play with it and I will make videos about it.
Right.
The brief that I'd heard in the kind of marketing spiel was something called a smart city, where they were going to dump sensors willy-nilly all over the place and run them off tiny solar cells, and they're going to do stuff like measure traffic pollution and pollen levels and stuff like that, and count rainfall and get measurements of wind speed around buildings and stuff like that. All sorts of things that they might want to know about a city.
Quite interesting.
Can be done.
Cole has got a subject that he's brought to the table. DJI
Me?
Avatar.
I'm the only one that brought it to the table.
I don't think it's called Avatar.
It's the Avatar.
Avatar.
It's the walk snail Avatar and the DJI Avatar, because there's no R in it.
So
You're say Avatar.
My question about that one is, did they just team up and say, hey, let's call our products basically the same thing, but we're in competition with each other?
Oh, no, I think it was definitely like Cadex trying to take a wee in their cornflakes.
Yeah.
They knew that name was in use.
I
have to say, you've got to hand it to DJI about making good promo videos.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So after
that
watching it, I
girl's
was
got
like,
a
"Ooh,
lovely arse.
that's fun. I could
Okay.
do one of those." I was like, "Oh, hang on,
Right.
snap out of it. I've been sucked into the marketing here."
It's a lump of expensive
I don't
plastic.
really
It's a
wanna
lump
fly
of
a drone
expensive
like this.
plastic. Repeat after me. It's a lump of expensive plastic.
Well,
You know what?
I don't
It
know.
does
I
seem.
mean,
It
it
seems
looks
pretty
quite
cool.
good. Yeah. If it can fly for 18 minutes, high definition video, and you're on a video shoot, and it can fly through walls and stuff like that, and keep its level off the,
I mean,
off the
for like
ground.
freestyle quads, of course, like the package, like DJI has it nailed when it comes to the whole package. But if you want to use the system on a freestyle quad,
Well, you're not going to freestyle that, are you? Unless you're.
So
there's going to be a version of it that's going to be coming out for
Nice.
freestyle.
It's.
Cole's
They've
talking.
just.
Sorry,
Yeah, I was
Go
gonna
on,
say I did see. I don't know if you guys watched the Rotor Riot demo thing of it, but basically
Seen it.
they ended up. Bubby and Drib, I guess they changed the remote so you can actually fly in acro mode, and Drib was freestyling it around, and you can do flips and rolls and all kind of stuff, but it's obviously not designed for that because
Why would you though?
Yeah.
one crash.
Well, I saw a lot of people were basically saying like, "Oh, I don't think I can do acro. I don't think you can freestyle or anything with it." But you do have the ability to, but I don't. I wouldn't do that. I don't think.
After you've clicked through three
Different
disclaimers.
goggles.
I don't think it's
I
for
think-
that.
I think the problem is that
What stands out
silly
about those?
whoops, as they are, should be for people who want to do filming whilst around people. But loads and loads of people tend to buy them because they're like, "Oh, look, it's really protected. It'll bounce off stuff. That'd be good." Even though they fly like bloody bricks and stuff and are rubbish compared to a regular
Still
quad.
plastic, isn't it? Still cracks.
Yeah, and the same people will buy this and say, "Oh, this is brilliant. I can do acro stuff, but I can
And
just
they'll
press
know
a
that they
button and
could,
it'll save
but they'll
me."
never actually do it. It's like
So-
people who buy
Yeah.
really expensive
Oh,
sports
God, that
cars.
barely
Like, oh, I
made
know it could do 0 to 60 in 3 seconds, but they're not going to do it.
And
At
I
least
feel
they
like
do.
people they're gonna buy that. They're not gonna want to crack open their their radio, unscrew it and then adjust the throttle. I feel like a lot of people that this is aimed towards are not tinkery type people. It's gonna be for like the Mavic or the DJI Mini.
It's going to be someone who turns up with a crowd of everyone else flying Mavics and Phantoms, and they'll be like, I can do sports on
I
mine.
can do
and everyone will be-
FPV. Look at me.
Yeah. Look at me with my my motion controller.
Yeah, that's how it's getting sold at the moment, isn't it? It's that the goggles and the motion controller. You can't even.
Well,
buy it.
there's a few different options. Like you can buy just the drone.
Right.
You can buy the drone with the motion controller and the goggles. You can apparently on Amazon you can buy the new drone with the V2 goggles, not the new goggles. But it's weird. But you can't actually buy it with the DJI remote control, like the actual standard remote. So if you want to get that remote, you have to buy it separately, which is like $250. And that so you can really only fly that drone right now. Or you can only buy that drone
with the thing.
with this little joy, like the VR type thing. Which
This is super marketing from DJI because they're like, no one bought our shitty, stupid controller. Let's force it into a bundle, and then if they want the thing they actually need to use, then they can buy an extra $250 for it.
Yeah, because you're not going to show up to, if this is meant for like Cine Whoop style stuff, where you're going to do some, some commercial work. You're going to show up to an event. Hey guys, let me get a commercial for you.
I'm a Jedi.
It
doesn't. I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen anyone fly it properly or anything. I haven't seen any other videos apart from DJI's video.
Yeah,
so I haven't seen a Rotor Riot one or any other people flying it.
There's this Canadian guy. Shoot, what is his name right now? Hold on. I'll remember it in 2 seconds.
He's young for dementia.
Yes, no. What is his name? Oh, yeah, his name is Matty Hapoya. I don't know how to spell it out, but basically he did like some kind of promo video for it, and he shows it flying all types of places, and it looks pretty good, not gonna lie. He's like a filmmaker first, so obviously he can make it look really good with editing and like color grades and whatnot, but I don't know, man. I think that with the stabilization built in on the camera, it's, it takes away the need for a GoPro. If the camera's half decent, then that's pretty good. It can do like 4K 60, 2.7K 120. Like it's pretty decent. But
it is decent, but we'll have to see.
I watched a bit of the Rotor Riot video, but obviously not all of it because I had to keep stabbing myself after 10 minutes. But from what I saw, the image in the goggles looked really good, and the camera looked really good, and it's kind of like, oh, we'd like that on a regular quad, please. Cooked up the beta flight, and having an all-in-one camera that actually worked, I think would really please a lot of people, because having to have like an expensive camera, but you also need a GoPro to do any decent filming is obviously a pain, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, see how it pans out.
It's going to get a ton of, it's going to give the whole FPV term a big buzz again, especially for people that have no idea what it is, because everybody knows DJI, everybody knows what a drone is now, but now they're going to be like, oh, FPV, and I can get into this for less than $2,000.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds wrong somehow. Do you remember all the videos like build a racing drone for $100, and it's like I can get in for this in less than $2,000? Yeah, this is good.
Well, see, I totally, man, like you could build a Cine Whoop for less than like $500 probably, right? Like, I guess maybe not including the GoPro, but the amount of tinkering that's going to go along with having to get that up and running well, and everything, like, I feel like people would easily pay the price to have a nice, ready to go Cine Whoop that looks amazing right out of the camera, like right off the bat.
Oh yeah, and I think especially the people that are coming from like, oh, I like flying cinematic on my Phantom or whatever, but this FPV stuff excites me, but I hear it's difficult. DJI released this thing, and they're just gonna eat it up, aren't they? Because this is like, oh yeah, now I'm a proper acro flyer, but it's still within my ecosystem. It's still safe. I know what I'm doing. I trust DJI, and it's for people that think they're going to be doing acro flying, that have just done cinematic flying, they're totally on it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
So, MKME Lab says, maybe you guys covered it, but that footage in Matty Apoya's video has some funky warping. He mentioned it, I guess. Yeah, I feel like, so here's the thing. That camera only has a one-axis gimbal on it, so it's only stabilizing like this way. But then they're putting in
say which way's this way because of the audio.
Up and down.
Yeah, I'm guessing up and down, pitch and roll, or sorry, pitch and pitch. Yeah,
no worries. Thanks, dude.
Are they doing a digital though?
Yeah. So one-axis gimbal on the camera, then digital stab for just to smooth things out. But then they also have like the horizon steady or something. So then, if you want it to just stay flat like a regular quad or a regular camera drone, it does it too. But I feel like any of the warping, funky looking stuff is all going to be something to do with the stabilization. Generally, that's what you'll get, or like a mixture of the super wide field of view and the stabilization. Yeah,
I'm loving this. How much Cole's talking, and the insight is just well done, Cole. I'm proud of you, man.
Yeah,
I
maybe
just-
there's
Buddy.
something as the lens moves up and down because that moves the distortions around as well. Because they said it
Yeah.
had. Was that footage shown in Rotor Riot with their steady? I forgot what they call the steady now.
Rocksteady or something.
Rocksteady.
Rocksteady. Is
I
that
don't
is
think
that like
it was.
inbuilt? Because
Well,
it
I
looked.
don't-
I mean, it looked
yeah.
okay, but it didn't look like it was smoothed out particularly. It was like,
It looked raw,
you could
yeah.
see stick movements going in it. Yeah.
Yeah, so in the Rotor Riot one, it looked like there wasn't stabilization on it. It definitely wasn't the Horizon, and I don't think even Rocksteady. But in the video I was talking about, the Matty Hapoya one, his was like as stable as you can get, and maybe even post stabilization too. Like, yeah, I don't know.
Pardon me. Sorry.
Thanks, Tony. Thanks for that insight.
put that
It'll be
loud.
interesting to hear whether the editor leaves that one in.
Yeah.
Gyro flow.
Yeah, see, that's another thing too. Everyone loves to talk about gyro flow, but I mean, okay, do you want to shoot footage? You want to throw it into gyro flow and wait 10 million hours. I don't know how long it actually takes. Depends
Have
on
you
your
used
computer.
it?
I've tried it a couple times. Like, so I mean, just think
Okay,
about
cool.
this. So you shoot the footage, you run it through gyro flow, and that's for every clip you want to stabilize. So that could be 10, 20 clips per time you go out and fly. That's a full additional step that's going to take a long time. Then put it into your
God.
editor, right? Like, who's going to want to do that?
Just GoPro does it while you're doing it. It's like so easier.
So for people that don't want to pay lots of money, if you could buy a cheap camera that would work, that'd be good. But as soon as you put it on 5-inch, spoilers for next video coming up, it gets the shakes back again. But yeah, it is. Anything that's extra step is a slight pain in the ass. I feel if you could trust Gyroflow to say, here is my clip, press a button, wait 10 minutes, out it comes, it's not so bad. Unless you're Cole and you manage to fly 20 packs a day, most of it is like, oh, I flew 4 packs
only
today.
got
Cole's
5.
like, I just did 20.
7, 6, maybe.
Oh.
But well, okay. So I was over exaggerating with the 10 to 20, but yeah.
Yeah, it would be. I think less steps the better, but Gyroflow seems to be catching on even more. So the camera Hawkeye. Heard of the Hawkeye people? They contacted me today, asking if I wanted to check out they're compatible with Gyroflow camera, and I was like, will it work on a 5-inch? They say, yeah, if you soft mount it. So I was like, okay, we'll see.
Well, check this out. Let me pull it up here.
Can I just interrupt quickly? Brandon Bean says GoPro Hypersmooth sucks compared to a proper smoothing. It depends on how you look at stuff, because I think Hypersmooth is great, but I've watched some stuff which is overdone, and it's just I think it looks really. I don't like it at all.
Processing.
I'm
It's
with you,
too
Tony.
over the top.
I think Hypersmooth just
Good.
takes that little
Yeah.
bits off it, and I think it just looks super. And
Yeah, and
I'm
then when you
perfectly
get-
happy with the stuff I get out of it.
Stuff overdone, it just looks too like people like do a dive and then it just looks. I don't know. It just looks too overdone.
That sort of like weird pushy pulley look does seem
it
kind of
just,
strange.
I don't
Yeah.
like it at all. I don't like it at all. I prefer it a little bit more raw, I suppose. But
Yeah,
that's just
and then
me.
Audio Geck says, I tried Gyroflow again for the 10th time. Again, problems happen to it. It's not perfect and it's not easy, but I don't know. I don't know. This was the video I was
Not
talking
the
about.
answer to everything.
No, it's not the answer at all. But if you're on a budget and you want to try stabilizing your footage, all the power to you. Like, if you have the patience, if you have the processing power, do
7 years ago, when I tried to fly stabilized footage, I literally had to learn how to fly smoothly.
Hello,
Yeah.
Wild Eric has joined
That
us.
was how I did it. So it was nothing to do with. There was no stabilization on these little.
I mean,
you know, I
hey,
just
look at
learned
this.
to fly smooth.
Yeah, this looks pretty awesome. I mean, yeah, you can see some distracting stuff on the sides, but I mean, people are mostly looking in the middle. I think, like,
You would
I don't know.
think, but then we're not normal people, you know, where we're constantly shooting gaps and trying to get through stuff. You need a normal human.
Well, there's none.
Yeah,
really.
well, the thing about the FPV community is everyone's looking at it with such a critical eye and like
Yeah.
nitpicking the littlest things that literally don't fucking matter. Pardon my French, but like, I feel like in all these FPV groups, you just see people nitpicking and bitching about stuff that's like, does it even matter? Like, fly, have fun. Does the footage look good? Okay, it does. Sweet, carry on. Like, but that's just my opinion.
The playback from your Max, brilliant. It's
Huh.
not like a slideshow. It's actually quite good. I mean, there's a few stutters here and there, but
Yeah, that's good. Huh.
that is bearable.
I think it's
I'm
always
impressed.
been about the size of the window you play it in. If
Yeah.
you play
True,
in like
yeah.
a really high res window, then it hates.
Have you got like an ad block, or is that actually an advert? Sorry.
Oh,
the
down here? No, that's just a
Yeah,
Google,
yeah, no.
Google ad. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. Squirrel. Yeah.
Yeah, like, I mean, for like, I don't know. Like, I'll be honest.
Did
I'm
you-
like, oh, what's up?
Oh, did you see the dangly bit under the bridge?
Yep, yeah, he totally avoided that. Yeah, I saw that right
Ah.
here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dangle,
Sorry.
oh,
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
good-
I don't know. I mean,
good eye.
I'm pretty sold on it, man. I mean, like, if
It
Yeah,
sounds
but
like you've
you
pre-ordered
got-
it now.
You got to remember, this is a pro probably flying this.
Is it
Not that you're not-
1,600
Yeah. And
US
there is-
dollars good though?
yeah,
that's
that's
a lot of coke money, isn't it?
Like-
Whores.
Two
Yeah, how
batteries and the drone, you're into 1,600 US dollars plus shipping plus tax.
Yeah.
yeah,
How much is a Cinewoot with a
Who's Eric?
Hero
Yeah, but
10
how-
on?
Where was I?
yeah. Oh, go ahead, Jack.
Oh, sorry. Eric is from Make Me Lab. He does a lot of electronic reviews. He's a massive friend of the show.
It's been
Um,
on a few times.
Yeah. Is it right to kill your shared screen, Cole?
Yeah, man.
So we can...
Sorry for my ignorance. I hadn't met him before. Hello, Eric.
No,
Sorry,
no.
yeah, we haven't
So-
met.
Yeah, this is Belric or Stephen. He's is it fair to say you're an Express LRS developer and you help out in Betaflight?
I'm not a
LRS?
developer for ELRS. If you're talking to
Oh.
me, I'm not. No.
Okay.
But I did get that PR into Beta Flight, so I've got like
You've got a fucking
One,
lovely
yeah.
beard, though.
Seconded.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Beta Flight 4.4 is going to have like the craft name injection stuff now.
Yeah.
I managed to fix a bug in that as well because for some reason DJI thinks that the string is one character shorter, and instead of truncating it one character shorter, it truncates it 5 characters shorter and then adds in loads of dots. Just the worst way of doing it. So you have to work around. Anyway, so
Yeah.
Eric,
Back to
What's
the
your-
DJI thing. Yeah.
take on this? Like, is that a polished bit of promo footage that you could have gotten if you had a big budget and any other drone, or is there something that's unique about that?
I'm no expert. I just looked at it and I like the footage. I like the model. I love the goggles. I am sold at that right there.
All
That
right, let's go
as
on
soon
that.
as I
So what
saw
about the
those-
goggles?
just the size. I can put the if you guys saw the equipment I'm running, actually these guys know what I run. I run ancient old red bottom 210 quads made with ancient gear. And I'm still rocking original Dominator SEs, and
Wow.
those goggles will fit in my bag and replace those old Dominators, and I could finally leap into the 2000s. But for that much money, no way.
Are you
That's-
worried about the non-replaceable antennas? Because that's one quick jamming in a bag accident away from
Yeah.
ruining goggles.
You have to look at my channel. Don't worry about the electronic side at all. I can deal with that. The consumers, the average person, absolutely, that's a real concern. But yeah.
Well, those
Is this
Is
antennas
this
are
just another way
replaceable.
to sell the? Sorry, I was just going to say, is this just another way of DJI to sell their aftercare service, which everyone seems very keen on, if they're going to smash things up?
Yeah. Could be. I mean, well, so just to sort of butt in there, the antennas actually are replace. You can actually take them on and off, so they technically are replaceable. But they use some kind of weird connector. I saw a video of them.
What,
taking it on.
proprietary?
I don't
Have
think
you
it's
got-
proprietary, but there's going to be a bunch of
Have you got a
third-party ones.
photo? Because I'm the sort of fucking sad act that would actually go, that's a micro MCX or IPX connector, or
Yeah, let me pull it up here.
Poor Eric's just vomited in his mouth, and it's like.
Do you want to know what actually got me to click the link to go to DJI's website? It wasn't the first sight of the goggles. It wasn't the footage. It wasn't the quad. It was when I saw the goggles up close and I saw the knobs on it, and then when was it Maddie's video when they covered the diopter, and then they mentioned the focus knob. I clicked the link to DJI's website right then and there. It was the focus. I'm like, this is the key. But the rest is still a hell of a lot of money.
It is. But I guess if it is a lot of money. But okay, think about this: if you build a Cinewhoop, you buy the Hero 10 bones or something equivalent, plus the digital goggles, all the system, all the the video transmission system. It's, I don't know. It all adds up no matter which way you look at it, right? But
Not
it is a lot.
much, though.
Yeah. I would say it's probably you could probably get into the digital system and build a Cinewhoop and be ready to go for probably at least $500 less than that.
Yeah. US. Yeah. And that's worth 30 cents on the dollar here in Kazakhstan. So.
Yeah. Well, you're in Canada as well?
Yeah. So
major
delta to US money. I'm in Southwestern Ontario.
Oh, me too, man. I'm in Toronto.
Oh, I'm in Goddard, not far from you.
Oh,
3
sweet.
hours.
Oh, no way. Small world.
Yeah, Jessup's there as well, or is it someone in the UK?
That's a UK one, yeah.
£1,000, of course.
Yeah, plus a couple of batteries, right?
So I think the difference is, Cole, for guys like us, is we've already got a bunch of quads and a bunch of goggles and radios. And the problem for us then is it's you don't get you've already got this stuff, then you just need this. If you're coming into it from fresh and you've just had a cinematic DJI or something, then it probably seemed quite attractive, but it's hard. It's kind of hard to justify because it's I've got all this stuff and this works with all my other stuff, but I want this thing which only works with this thing, which is really expensive.
It's like the DJI controller as well. I've got a pair of goggles, analog. They fly 10 of my quads, 15 of them. And then I've got a pair of DJI goggles that are good for another 15 quads. I'm not going to take a pair of goggles and have them just for one quad, just like I'm not going to take a radio and only have it work with one quad and be taking that thing in and out of my bag the whole time.
Jack?
What are we looking at,
Jack? Just the the removable antennas. I'm not sure.
Sorry.
Jack can remove them.
Yeah, sorry. I was just trying to clean my glasses because honestly, it's like Tony licked them.
So they are removable because they were saying they were non-removable.
I wonder what connector it is, though.
What is that?
There's two. Apparently, there's two antennas. There's two patch antennas on the inside that you can't remove, and then there's these two that are removable. So
okay, that's better.
Because me labs just looking at that going, my drill and some SMA connectors.
It looks like an SMA to me.
Yeah.
They said that it's not SMA, but
that's about the same size as the walk snail, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did you see the most important thing that would put us off over here, where they talk about the range and they say it's 10k range, and then there's a little bit of text saying CE 2k.
Yeah.
We get cut down.
Would you fly that thing that far? I mean, personally, whenever I've done Cinewhoops, it's just been through buildings and very low and slow, and that's how.
Yeah, but you need the penetration, though, don't you, Tony?
Well, yeah, but that's what I'm getting. I get that, but will it penetrate as much as we want it to?
That's what she said.
No.
I've been cracking that all night and no one's heard it. But yes, that's what she said. I mean, this is what we're going to have to find out in the next few weeks, I suppose.
I want to see whether that comes as a 19mm camera or a 20mm camera, and if it does, how much that's going to cost. And there's been this vague, we might make this compatible with the V2 goggles. It could come, it might, maybe. Like zero commitment and loads of conjecture, which it's like listening to politicians, isn't it? Unless they swear on their mum's life that they're going to do it, they're not going to do it.
Apparently they are, is from what I've heard. I sent
There's a press statement saying they could do it in future.
Oh, as far as not being
you
compatible. Yeah, they say they say it's at the moment it's not, but we're going to listen to all of our people, and it could be available in a firmware update, basically.
Yeah.
What I do like about a new DJI release is someone's going to buy it, and there's always videos that come out within like a couple of weeks on YouTube, and just says, "Look how far I can fly it," and then they lose it, which is always hilarious. It's like serves you right. Even with like the Inspires, there's like 2 guys flying Inspires. Let's see how far we can go. It's like, oh, I've lost. Something's gone wrong.
Apparently, it's got return to home, but would that work through a building?
That's after all the freebies. They've got all the B-roll they need. They've got all the footage they need. Now they can start to play, and then they lose them.
Yeah.
Digby Dan says it's a MMCX connector in goggles. So,
oh, that's quite difficult to. That's something I wouldn't like to pull on the antenna bit, because that's quite to get it out, isn't it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It looked larger. It looked to me like an SMA, but with spring-loaded on the outside, like an old coaxial spring-loaded outer connector that you can just slide on. But I guess
it looks like the mini. You know, like the SMA push, like, you know, test equipment with the ballon sort of, you know, like the old Marconi stuff. You know.
Exactly.
I say old, just before they stopped, but yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's just like another connector to deal with as well.
Oh, so annoying, isn't it? We all live on the same flat plane.
Drew said MMCX.
Let's just have the same bloody thing.
For everything.
Everything's got to get smaller. We've got to mess with it.
No, it's just so annoying that you've got to have 10 different things all the time.
I have a new question for all you experts. I'm sure there's another noob that'll watch this later. So now that I've seen these goggles and I really like them, this might actually get me to go digital. If I did, what are my options for a VTX rate now to work with those? To put on my existing
Neil Poir, nothing.
We're in a situation now where, like,
there's this quad called the Avata.
Yeah, that walk snail system was supposed to drop at Christmas, and so they released early to try and pip these guys to the post to get the sales, right? So the smart thing to do now is, if you don't need to make a decision now, just wait until Christmas. See how it all comes out, see what the next firmware release does. Is it compatible with other DJI previous products? Does it perform better? Look at what Walksnail are doing. See if they're managing to get beyond this kind of late stage prototype that they're working with. And then there's HT0 who are kicking around a few ideas. Just wait for the dust to settle, unless you've got money to throw around, right? If you've got 1,000 local currency units burning a hole in your pocket, then go for it. But if you don't, maybe just wait till the new year.
I think you definitely should wait.
I'm in no rush. I'm still running red bottoms.
Right.
Like, just you might as well wait.
Is there a red bottom cult that Jack's been like kind of masterminding from the shadows? He's got Cole, he's got you, and you're all like running old Emax red bottom motors, and you're all running PDBs with OSD on them. And
Jack is the red bottom.
I
was trying to
you meet up on a mountainside once a year in robes or something?
No, I killed my red bottoms recently.
That's exactly what you'd say if you actually met on a mountainside in robes.
Exactly.
Oh no, I'm gonna have to get a T-shirt with like a motor with a red bottom, and it just says underneath it, "Not the cult."
I still got some on my quads.
Yeah,
I never had them.
They were great.
I feel so left out.
2600 kV, at dirt, and still carried on flying. Brilliant.
But
I had a pretty bad
made
crash.
out of cheese.
Yeah.
That's the only
Yeah,
problem.
they were. The first lot were really good, and then I think they were like
Was it a bad alloy? What was it? Soft aluminium?
soft. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
soft. But the first lot were really good. They like literally had. I've got motors with dirt in them, and they still fly brilliantly. So I think it went. I think they sold a lot, and then went, oh, let's make some more money.
Well,
Let's make it crap.
what it actually was they got cloned, and
That did happen.
yeah, and it was so hard to tell, like the clones from the real thing.
I agree.
I have got a photo on my phone, but the way to tell was you would have a large gap between the rotor and the stator, and with the early red bottoms, they weren't laser etched. They had a sticker, and then they moved to laser etch, and then with the laser etch, it was more of a clear text and it was slightly whiter, whereas the other ones were kind of a bit more sort of like rusty colour. But I have got a photo that, because like I was the guy who leaked like how to tell if you had a cloned.
I remember that because the shop you were working in was importing.
Had a cloned what?
Yeah, So I leaked, I leaked it to old Oscar Lang. I'm sorry, you're going to have to deal
How
with.
to tell if you have a cloned what? You stop mid-sentence.
Clone Naze 32. But
does it work better if you had a cloned one?
No. So yeah, I can upload that picture to Instagram. But
Caroline
as you can see,
Jack sounds like an expert off of the Antiques Roadshow.
Yeah. So
you can tell by the delicate patina on the bottom that these are the true RS 2205, an early model, I believe, possibly the B series.
All right, yeah, maybe it is a cult. Now you mention it, shit, I've invented a cult.
That was like 6 years ago, probably.
I know, I need to let it go, but I was just so annoyed with like, stop importing bullshit.
Yeah.
And then he got screwed.
Course. But yeah, there are. I mean, there are better motors, right? They may have been the peak of what motors were like 5 years back, and they were awesome.
No,
but
they were.
better motors.
The thing was, when they came out, Make Me Lab will back me up. The power on the RC workbench was incredible.
I've got video.
Yeah, if I'm saying that was 5 years ago, right? Now you can run something like that with, like, I got the RC Empower 2105s, was running them on a lightweight build with 6S, and absolutely ripped. Absolutely ripped. And
I've got video. Do you remember, Jack, in the in your workplace, us running 5S 2600 kV on a bench on a timer thing, and it was pulling good for a long time. It was they were good. They were good motors until they got
he was using a legit little V30 amp.
Yeah.
With a red bottom 2300.
Where would you go from now, right? People have improved the tolerances. You can get the magnets closer to the stator now.
Oh yeah, it's night and day now. You wouldn't bother, it's.
So what are you going to buy now? Like now it's 2022, hastening into 2023. I wouldn't even know
what motor to buy if I.
Simple. It's just like what you can actually get hold of because everything's goddamn out of stock.
Well, yeah.
My go-to is
super expensive.
Their quality, like the F40, F60s, but
they're consistent.
Yeah, but
can't get them though.
Yeah, you can't get them, and they're only kind of seem to have in stock their Velux ones. Yeah. Then everyone's kind of gone.
Is the Velux like a budget range compared to the F range then?
Yeah.
But they're really good.
Is anyone making 4S motors anymore?
Well,
just a 6
if you look at Cole,
Yeah, I
he's
saw Cole's
running.
buying the Philuxes.
Are they 2207s?
2206, 2400 kV.
Yeah, so he's running the edge of what the KISS 24 amp ESCs are rated for.
Right.
So
Yeah.
he's absolutely, yeah.
Right.
So like,
On the edge.
That danger zone.
yeah, totally. He's he's totally in the danger zone. So if
Yeah, I'm
Paul's
running
too
I still don't think
5
I can get
amp
behind a
ESCs
flight
online.
controller where you have to buy a separate OSD board. I'm sorry.
Just because it's old. It's too old.
Yeah.
I'm running an OSD on my FC. I'm not even using it. I've got DJI. It's still got an OSD chip.
Yeah,
Well, the
Yeah,
KISS
what-
Ultras have it built in, right? So
yeah. And a lot, once you move to digital, well, you've got your own OSD within the ecosystem.
Yeah.
So you don't even, it was a different time back then. It was a different time.
Definitely.
When motors had red bottoms, and now motors don't even have bottoms at all. When flight controllers were F1s.
That gear has some advantages for people
That
like
one's
me.
got
Like, I haven't even
NFC.
flown in a year, and I pulled mine out last night and charged everything up. And I think I built that Blue Falcon quad 5 years ago with those red bottoms on it, and it's been through a war. But because there's so much gap between the magnets and the windings, it doesn't even matter. I spun them last night, and there's no grinding or anything out of them. And they've been sitting for a year. The bearings are fine, and I'm going to go out and fly it tomorrow, I hope, for the first time in a year. And I'll do the same again. It'll sit for another year. Ancient gear, but it's bulletproof.
still works. Yeah.
And it's paid for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We
Old
still
is gold.
So I was going to say
Yeah.
I've got a 45 amp KISS ESC in there now, ready to go. Just need to slap the motors on there.
Is it KISS or is it?
Well, it's one of the
FTech?
FETEC ones.
Yeah, it's FTech.
Steven loves saying he's got.
I really
KISS
don't
stuff on his
care.
stuff.
I don't see it's any different. It's just like two slightly different cults. They're all just a little bit weird, and I don't really know either of them. It's like when you bump into Scientologists and you're like, oh, it's something about clams in space, and they go, shut up, it's not about clams in space, and they're like, it's about self-improvement. You're like, no, really, it's about clams in space, isn't it?
Yeah.
kind of
Well,
a similar
funny
thing.
enough, the clone guys I used to work for were Scientologists.
Oh,
Wow.
really?
Yeah, so that is a story for a bonus podcast.
That definitely is.
That is a story for a bonus Nanu podcast.
Yeah, that's
I'm
going to
up-
be
I'm
the
up, put
1100
longer on
kV build.
Ah.
All the weird ones.
And 1100 kV 5-inch because reasons.
Unknown to man.
Fly longer.
So what
I
have you
don't know
been
how
up
I'm
to,
gonna fit
Eric,
the
if you
batteries
haven't
on.
been flying? Playing with chainsaws or
Chainsaws.
stuff with pies?
Moose wrestling.
All the above. I worked on the off-grid camp. I got like 300 gigs of footage from the summer for the Make Me Outdoors channel, and yeah, I built up an old bush tractor through the summer so I can work over there and set up a kilowatt of solar on it. And I've been working on some home automation stuff here at home and
What
revamping
type
the
of home
garage.
automation you built?
Just Home Assistant, basic stuff. I got a whole pile of crap to add on to the house. I did all my blinds last week with Sinza motorized blinds, and I'm gonna pimp the Pi that's running it and do some videos on it because I've
I was
never
looking
done the
about
videos.
blinds. I got the IKEA ones. Luckily, I had the right sized windows for those. But yeah, there's a plethora of motorized blinds, and it's like going into quad parts with motorized blinds where you look at all the crazy motor assemblies and sensor assemblies.
I think
They're
the best
expensive.
Who's eating on mic?
blind company out there of Isle of Wight blinds on the Isle of Wight.
I think
I don't know anything about blinds.
I mean, this is a drone-ish podcast. We can talk about.
so.
blinds
The
for
sensor
ages.
ones where you like retrofit a motor to the existing like blind chain thing.
Yeah, I
The
have
rope that
mini
comes down the
blinds. Here in Canada, we all have mini blinds instead of the European kind of way of doing things.
External shutters.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
they,
we do that too. We kind of went that route because we don't get, well, until recently, we didn't get the crazy temperatures that mean you need external shutters.
true.
After the summer, maybe we will, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, apart from that, I got a resin printer and a wash station a few weeks ago to finally break into that,
cool.
so I can make some more useful parts, which also for quads here and there, but not so much. And I set up a resin printing station in my shop, and you guys have probably seen, I've been reviewing laser cutters a lot lately, and I've got like 5 more inbound because everybody and their brother is making them.
Mm.
I figured nobody's going to review them objectively, honestly, because what I'm seeing in the background is these companies are crooked as bad.
That's what put me off getting one. I wanted my wife to get a laser cutter so she can cut stuff in the shed, but she was worried about catching fire.
Yeah, these companies, like the one big one that your wife would have seen and stuff that's marketed towards soccer moms right now, that company is, even I reviewed their product. I'm starting to question whether I'm going to take that video down. They're, yeah. So
fire risk?
No, shady business practices.
Really? I just looked at a whole bunch on like AliExpress and stuff. I didn't go for any kind of big name products. But
they all have the same fire risk, with the exception of the brand new ones that now have flame and heat detection. The one I just reviewed, that the video is up on my channel, it has both flame and heat, and it works now with the new firmware upgrade. And that's good, but they're always safe. You're cutting material with fire. It is what it is, right?
You better sit there and watch it.
You have to. You cannot walk away. And you got to be aware of what you're cutting, too. And they're not telling people this. Like, you cut vinyl, you cut PVC, well, it gives off nice chlorine gas. That's bad news. So yeah, so we'll see. I figured if no one was going to review this stuff objectively, then I might as well. So I accepted a bunch of them, and I'll run them through.
There's definitely some temptation seeing how cheap laser stuff is online. You think, oh, maybe. But then you go and look for information. There's nothing. There's just nothing.
Made me laugh. You know, flight test foam board, does that release chlorine gas? Do you know?
I don't know, because I don't know what's in it. I've cut it.
Our foam board here, it like the paper doesn't peel off, and I know that does release chlorine gas, but I don't know about flight test stuff.
Well,
it's also about volume of chlorine, isn't it? Foam's not very dense material.
And you can safe it. The only danger is to your laser. Like, I cut pounds and pounds and pounds of PVC through the pandemic because I was making COVID face shields for all the businesses in town here when you couldn't get them. Just the splash shield style. And I was cutting overhead projector sheets. There's my age. Those things you used to put on the wall in school. Well, I found those sheets still all dusty at the local business, and I was cutting those. They're PVC, so it gave off a heck of a lot of chlorine, and all it does is chew up. It just oxidizes and rusts your laser. But if you vent it, like mine's enclosed, and I vent it outside, there's no risk. But if you don't know that, if you're, say, a soccer mom with a brand new X tool, you can really hurt yourself and your kids.
Yeah, I think my wife's safe there. She's not a soccer mum. She's got a lathe out there at the moment.
There you go.
She's doing all right.
Nah, it's a neat industry, but they don't cross over as much into the quads as like the CO2 lasers and stuff where you can cut acrylic. I use the cases on that for my rescue stuff that I was carrying with quads, but the diode lasers, they can't cut acrylic.
So do you do CNC milling as well?
Just started a little bit. I have a 3018 I built last winter, and I haven't really used it much yet. It's on the schedule.
Yeah. So many tools are suddenly affordable, aren't they now? Like Arduinos are prevalent and the firmware is stabilized. It's tempting.
You can make anything at home now. Like, it's nutty. It's pretty cool, and that's why I'm working on the shop. I'm going to put down some tile floor out there to make it look good for a little bit better for videos, and just want to share
Make
tips
it all
and
flame
tricks.
retardant.
Yeah, well, that's another thing. I see all these videos on these, and no one ever mentions the fire risk. So I've got to call into my insurance company to find out, will it void my insurance? Good question.
Probably will.
I think it
'Cause
might.
Yeah, because if you don't remember, the flight test guys had a pretty big fire, and there's a lot of them wandering around. Like that laser wasn't back in the day wasn't really left on its own very much.
I
You
remember
know, but
that.
now they've got
If
a
there's
whole
just a couple
warehouse.
of you in the house, you've got to think about that stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe put it in an outbuilding rather than something connected to the main home, at the
Yeah.
very least.
And the trouble is, with laser cutting, you got to be careful what smoke alarm you use, because you'll get a load of false alarms that will just annoy you, and then
From the dust.
you might.
Then you turn it off, and then there'll be a real fire.
Never walk away from a laser cutter, period. Never take your eyes off of it, because it goes from a small little flame to fully engulfed in a blink, because the heat is just incredible there, right? So
Be like the old data centers who got a big halon switch next to the door, and you're just like, I'm out of here. Bonk.
now you're talking a little halon switch or a dump of CO2 from a paintball gun. That's what I was looking at making, and just having the holy shit button. Oh, sorry. Editor.
No, you're
I've got a
right.
load of electronics.
You can do that.
That's why we have an editor.
Yep.
Yeah, those halon, man. That I remember there was an aerosol
CO2 for the
factory.
win.
Yeah.
That's a
There you
big
go.
one, Stephen. That's what.
Yeah,
Shane's
get a
saying.
couple of. Do you know what would do it, Eric? Is
CO2.
the race car guys? You know, like they've got a pull outside switch with the fire extinguisher thing, and that releases a load of foam. Maybe you could buy the setup for that, but then hook it up to CO2 instead.
You can
And
make it
just
pretty
put-
easy.
You can get cheap CO2 extinguishers, just don't buy the tiny ones designed for domestic residences, just get the full-size ones. The tiny ones are kind of a false economy.
I thought about doing the same over my charge area, where I charge my lipos in the house in the basement, because I really shouldn't where I am, but I thought about putting something like that there where it can at least buy some time. It's not going to extinguish the lipo, obviously, but it'll at least give me time.
Well, the good thing about CO2 is it doesn't just blanket, but it actually cools stuff. So you stand a chance of actually like doing, thermally controlling the fire rather than just starving it of oxygen.
Yeah, I have mine on. It's really primitive, but I have all my battery charge stations on cookie trays. From
I was going to say frying pans.
Yeah, and I only charge when I'm within 20 feet of it. I can carry that cookie tray above my head outside the door with all the charger and batteries on it.
Ditch it.
I've tried. Yeah, and just wait.
I've had a lipo fire. Luckily, I was sitting in the same room while I was charging, and it leaped off the fireplace onto my carpet, left a really big burn. If I wasn't there upstairs having a pee or whatever, it would have caught the house on fire very quickly. Luckily, I was there, and I just grabbed it, lobbed it out in the garden, and stamped out the fire on my carpet. And since then, I've always charged in a frying pan if I'm indoors, or mostly outdoors.
I've got to promote Bat Box again. If you can get the Bat safes, Frank's got one, I know. I think you've got one as well, Jack. They're great.
I've got a giant one. Yeah,
that's a good.
Yeah,
they allow it to burn, but they've got vents, so they allow the gas to come out, so it doesn't explode and allow the flames out. Just allows venting of the fumes.
I use it.
Grumpy RC Flyer, can someone put his little thing up? Look. My mate had a lipo fire the other week, £1,700 worth of damage. He used 17 grand. Sorry, he used two fire extinguishers
the
and
Bat
a fire
Box.
brigade.
And for storage, you can get these guys for about 20 quid a piece.
But the trouble is with those is with ammo boxes. All the ammo boxes are designed to do is protect the ammunition from the outside world.
Yes.
And they're not designed for like containing stuff.
No.
And you need to remove part of the seal so that there's a vent there. Because if you don't, Has anyone seen the video of a lipo going off in there, and it's just like the box just jumps in the air and
I must
smashes
admit,
around.
all mine are outside in an ammo box in a plastic bench. So,
Yeah.
like,
At
if
least
it go,
they're
I know
outside,
it. Yeah, exactly.
and the ammo box is
I will not
preventing
keep
it from the outside.
I will not keep any lipos in my house whatsoever after what I experienced. Luckily, I was there. Everything's outside. If it burns outside, everything goes up together. I'll start again. But
you brought
I
up a
wouldn't-
good point, Tony. Like the fact that it jumped off, that's something that most don't consider, including myself, because I'm clever. I'm using this cool tray. I have no protection from that. It's actually on an elevated platform about chest level, and they could do the jump and end up on the floor. But it's an unfinished floor area, but still the same thing. Like they can physically move on their own.
Oh yeah, it jumped about 4 foot.
Yeah.
I think the trick is, like, listening to the old fight test thing. I think it might be well worth either molding a plaster sort of enclosure, or getting plasterboard and making yourself an enclosure for charging. And they done a neat thing where they had like cinder blocks and they had sand bags on top in plastic sand, and if it did go, it would melt the plastic and then the sand would fall. Because I remember like Frank talking about it, and he asked the fire brigade, do these lipo fire extinguishers work? And they go, no, all they're designed for is to stop other things being on fire, because lipos are self-oxidizing.
They will
burn and continue to burn, and spitting out hot plasma, metal, and whatever that black stuff is.
Yeah, don't breathe that in. I literally carried mine out like this and lobbed it out in the garden. It was like, fucking hell, and it burnt for another 2-3 minutes.
Yeah.
Because
crazy.
I mean, I had a balance lead catch on fire, and you're like, how does silicone burn? I had a balance board, I plugged it in wrong, and then the plastic started burning, and then it was probably the Drone Labs not real silicone, but it burnt down like a fuse on a stick of dynamite, and I just had to carry it out to the window. And then
be careful when you're charging, people. Literally be on it all the time. Watch what you're doing.
The bucket of water is not ideal, FX node, but because it's electricity. You've got your charger that's plugged into the wall, and if you throw it over stuff, it's water damage. And I don't think it really sort of like puts it out. If anything, lithium on fire in water isn't really the best.
No, charge outside when you can.
Tiny bit of lithium.
If not, buy yourself a wok.
Yeah, but a bucket of sand is better.
Sand is good. Yeah, pour that over everything, but just don't charge indoors. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, Richard Warwick, lipos are dangerous, but as long as you're very careful, more necessary precautious, and you should be okay.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, like, lipos, it's like you, Cole. I respect your fear level of lipos. You're bringing them down to storage charge, and that's such good practice. But the good thing about lipos is they do give you warnings. If they're puffing, if they're smelling that sweet,
definitely have a
electrolyte smell, if they're crumpled, if they're bent, if they get hot whilst charging. There's even temperature sensors on some chargers. Get them.
I discard mine all in water buckets full of salt water. That seems to discharge everything down to nothing.
Yeah, but if a pack's acting a bit weird or you're suspicious,
especially if they
get
smell.
rid of it.
You gotta
accept the one time. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
No, it's basically the same as the laser cutter conversation. Laser cutters and lipos on a long enough timeline, it's highly likely that you're going to have an incident of some form in your life if you're in the hobby for a long time. Except the fact that everything around that incident, the smoke damage will be significant, no matter what, because you're not going to get it to stop smoking ever, no matter what you hit it with.
Yeah.
So charge where you're
One went off in
prepared
my
to have
kitchen.
the damage be significant. If it's in your house, you're gonna have to gut a good portion of your house because it's gonna stink for years. So
Yeah.
accept it, and then maybe move your charge somewhere safer outdoors.
I had one that didn't catch, and it just spewed chemical goo around. I think I used a lot of bleach and a lot of strong detergent that basically covered the kitchen in not ash, but a kind of vaporized goo that would only shift with very strong detergent, and it stank like you wouldn't
Not
believe.
fun.
Horrible.
Yeah. But if you're prepared and know these things, and then it makes you make smart decisions, like charge outside in a bat safe or whatever, and there you go.
Yep.
Right, that is all we've got time for.
Ended on a bit of a downer then. Do we not have anything stupid, interesting?
Yeah, we went out for a meal and my dog was in a bag.
Photographic evidence must be supplied.
Yep,
There is.
hang
I've
on.
sent it to the chat. Yes, will make you smile. We all went out for a meal after a fly and after our live stream, and there
So that's
she
my
is.
bag, and then we shoved the dog in
We
there.
put the
You wouldn't
cocoa.
believe how tiny that dog is.
She
And
was
so
brilliant.
well behaved. A couple of
Yeah.
poppadom crumbs, and she
Yeah.
was there the whole time.
Slid her under the seat, in between my legs, and we just fed her little bits of food, and she kept
Introduced
quiet.
Cole to the wonder that is biryani.
And we got away with having a meal out with a dog.
Yep.
So
How did you find the whole curry thing, Cole? Was it all right, or were you just
It was good.
weird?
No, it was good.
It's
Okay,
both
this is
alright
what this
and
is what I
weird.
this is what I sort of figured out. Correct me if I'm wrong, but every place that I went out for food in the UK, it seemed like they did not add any seasoning or salt to any of their food.
What?
For like anywhere. Yeah.
Let's just invert that.
in a curry house, there was no
You have way
seasoning.
more salt.
No. Not anywhere but the curry houses, I should say.
Did you go in and
really?
get fish and chips?
Yeah, well, yeah. I went to one fish and chips place. They were really good. Other fish and chips place, it was kind of hit and miss. But I don't know what it is. But it seemed like the curry places were like the good places that actually had good seasoning and good stuff.
Most of it's quite bland. Most of our national
We
cuisine
are a
is
bland-
fairly bland.
Yeah.
And then you've got
that's
that
what I
Asian
noticed,
influence from India.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of salt, the one thing I always get from the US is all the meals that I have. I'm not to say US and Canada are the same. I'm sure they're not. But when I'm out in the US, I have a lot more salt on my food and a lot more sugar on my food than I do back home.
Yeah. It's
Probably,
like there
probably
was,
better
there
than not, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There was-
definitely better
There
not
was
to have
a
it.
comedy thing called Goodness Gracious Me, and they went for an English, and one of them was like, "I'll have the
More bread
blandest thing,"
rolls. More
Yeah.
bread rolls.
instead of poppadoms. And
12 portion of chips.
yeah, and he asked like,
25 chips. Yes.
"I'll have the blandest thing on the menu," you know, as in like, "Ooh,
I
what
want
is
one more
this?"
bland than yours.
Yeah. And
I remember that sketch. That must be like 25 years ago. That was a great sketch.
Yeah, but did you have a roast dinner, Cole?
I didn't because Jack's an asshole and didn't make me one.
Oh, well, you should have
How am
gone
I
for a
supposed to-
that is the
I didn't
ultimate.
see him Sunday.
You
They-
need
they-
a
No,
roast
no.
dinner. Yeah, but
They
to be
left to go to
fair,
London.
you have to eat it on a Sunday.
Oh,
Not religiously, but it's just a thing.
We could have gone and seen my mate Glenn. Right, we are over time.
Yeah.
You've been listening to Let's Drone Out. We might, depending on who's willing, we might do a bonus podcast on Patreon.
I'm
See you
up for it.
there. We'll talk about Scientology,
Okay,
the sale
I'm
of
doing
counterfeit parts.
Clams flying in B-52s powered by rockets. Glorious
No.
future.
No, no.
I'm there.
No.
You have been joined by everyone's favourite curry kitten.
Goodbye.
I've just realised I
Have I
haven't
gone
done. I haven't done the
names.
banner to say thank you to
Oh,
all our
jeez.
lovely Patreons.
Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone.
Patreons. You are
FX Node was
amazing.
one of them for the longest time. Thank you, buddy. They're all scrolling across the screen. You can catch a show live every Thursday at 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. UK time, BST. at
I
the
always
moment.
wonder, looking at that list, who put their name down as Gabe Colon?
His real name is that.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Everyone's favourite Stephen, man with the moustache.
Thank you. Have a
Apart
good
from
night.
Gabe Colons.
Yeah. Yeah. I've restarted
It's
it.
in
So I
all
can
caps. It's
scroll
the only one
past.
all caps.
Yeah.
We love
a
you,
very-
Gabe. We love you, man.
A
Well,
very
we all
tired-
do. He obviously doesn't.
Yeah,
Just
I
like,
love you,
so
Gabe.
surely that's not a real name. It's put in all caps.
Yeah. Yeah, a very talkative and knowledgeable Cole.
See ya.
Our late arrival, but always welcome to the show, Eric from Make Me Lab. Thank you for turning up.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Tony, who's been here from the start. Me and Tony, lads for life.
7 years.
I
This is
know.
Why I drink a lot.
8 years marriage, and I've been bright until I fly. Don't Nazi salute. Thank you. Good night.
Oh,
What the fuck?
Jack.
I wonder if that will
That
get
was
in.
a reference to Bottom. If you remember when they
Yeah.